Hi everyone, it is October 5th, and I'm not sure if I could do a bedtime story like every night, you know what I mean? And the first thing I want to do is I want to thank Mike D. Thank you so much, man. He hit the PayPal button. I don't expect anything really, but thank you so much, alright? And I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to stack up this stuff and the money and I'm doing really good, man. I'm doing really good. I hope everybody doesn't mind the topic. It's a big topic for me tonight. But back to I also turned on Super Chat or whatever that was. I'm not really sure what that is. I'm gonna try to follow the chat. It's really little on my phone. I don't have a really big phone, and my phone's only like a $60 phone. You know, believe it or not. But if people donate, I'm not going to touch it until I have enough for the equipment that I'm looking at. All right. And if there's anybody out there that gets discounts on equipment, let me know. Okay. Or like tonight, I kind of hinted at a topic about healings, and I want to really quick. I believe in God. Okay, I didn't believe in God at one time. I actually wasn't raised in church. I was a heathen. Serious. I was a serious alcoholic, and I did cocaine. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I had a bad problem. I was really bad. And I can tell you the day, all right, the exact day, and I remember it like yesterday. It won't. Don't. What? Okay, wait. I don't remember what I did. Okay, I was so drunk. I was hot air ballooning that day, and I went on 5 rides, 5 hot air balloon rides. I have friends that own hot air balloons. And how I met him was doing videos. I would trade that people would buy birthday rides, and then I would come with my professional camera, and I would take videos of the balloon taking off and landing with the people in it, and then get in the balloon and ride with them and get their reaction to the flight and everything. So it was really fun. But only they on the balloon you can drink champagne. Okay, so nobody was drinking the champagne, so I was drinking the champagne, And oh my God, no, I wasn't a fun drunk at all. I was actually an a-hole, right? So bad, I lost my job. My wife was leaving me. I got arrested. I got in a fight with these gang guys, and at first there was only one, then there was 3. Then one of them whistled like a little bird, and the next thing I know, there was like a bunch running at me. So I went and I got in my car and I tried to run them over. See, now I don't remember that. This is what I was told. I didn't come to until I was in jail. And I guess I was in there like 8 hours before, or 6 or 8 hours before I even really started recalling the day, if you know what I mean, And I got arrested, and I woke up in this cell, and the sheriff came in and he was letting me out. And he said that he wasn't the DA wasn't pressing charges because the gang wasn't pressing charges. So, when I get out, I better watch myself, But I wasn't a stranger to scrapping. I was always scrapping. Every Friday night or something, I was in a fight, and the jail actually wasn't really like strange to me either. I hate to admit that. But that said, I got out of the jail, and I went out and I called all my friends, and they're like, nobody's picking you up this time. Nobody. My family was telling me, nobody's coming to pick you up this time. You're there, And then I called my boss, and I mean, there was the only person left, and he was my uncle too. So I called him up, and he was like, "No, you're on your own, and you're no longer an employee. Like, we had enough, I was like, man. So I was sitting out there, and they have this courthouse park where the jail and the courthouse is, and it's actually pretty nice. And I was thinking, man, nobody's gonna come and get me. And then I was thinking I couldn't quit. I tried to quit a bunch of times. I tried to quit. But I couldn't, the first time that I got paid or somebody, had some beer or something, I was like the first one to grab it. And I would even argue with myself like, no, I'm not going to drink this, I'm not going to, and then I would. And then I wouldn't remember. I mean, there were so many days I don't remember. It was ridiculous. So I was sitting there and I'm like, man, if there's a God, you know what? If there's a God, if you're real, take away my drug and alcohol problem and my anger issue problem, because I can't stop. I'm powerless. I can't stop. I don't have any control over myself. And from that day on, April 26, 1986, I haven't had a drop of alcohol. I haven't wanted a drop. I have some of my friends became my friends again, and they would give me beer, and I would tell them I don't want one, and they would open it up and set it down, and say, "Don't waste that beer. You drink that beer." And I was like, "What are they doing that for?" I never could get it. But from that time on, I didn't do any more of that, and I actually got my job back. My wife, something happened where she didn't leave. That was a miracle, But I'm still with her. This year is 40 years with her, and we raised 6 kids, 3 foster kids, 3 of my own kids, and the foster kids are my cousins. But because of that, of not having the desire to drink or do drugs again, that was saying something to me like, you know what, there has to be a God, because I didn't do it. You know what I mean? I never ever tried to quit. I just woke up not wanting it anymore. And I mean, I could tell people no, and I mean, I was totally okay. I mean, I didn't desire it. I mean, it's really weird, But I started going to church, and in the church, there was a few people that wanted to mentor me, And God put me on a crash course on praying and the Holy Spirit, and the supernatural side of God is real, okay? He's real. I've been to Africa. This is for another bedtime story, but I mean, I think if you're my friend, you can go on my Facebook wall or my Facebook and type in notes and type in. I think even if you're not my friend, I think I made it public. So if you can find my Facebook, you can go read a note that says an African adventure with God. I mean, you'll be tripping, okay? And talk about supernatural or paranormal or whatever, that was interesting. Now, back in the church, there was a lady that I knew. For her husband worked with my dad. My dad was a sergeant in the sheriff's department, and he was a reserve deputy for a long time. Her husband was. So I got to know his wife, like, on a regular basis. They lived in the same they lived in our same neighborhood a few blocks away, and her name was Alice. I won't say their last name. Are you sneaking up on me? Oh goodness. Oh, my wife, she's checking on me again. Because I just disappeared. I didn't tell her what I was going to do. Anyways, we're in the church, and there's Alice was in there. And when I first met Alice, she worked for the school district. And I attended this junior high at the school she worked at. And she wore glasses, she had blue eyes. But then one day, something happened to her eyes, and she couldn't cry. I mean, her eyes wouldn't water or something like that. And pretty soon, they dried up. They dried up like raisins, you know what I mean? And pretty soon, she was wearing patches. And, okay, now that's like, that. I was like in high school. Okay, now I'm around 27 years old. And I'm in, it's a good almost 10 years that she's been blind, all right? No eyes. She can't see anything. 2 patches. Her husband has to lead her around everywhere. I mean, I knew her well. And then one day, one of the guys that was mentoring me, and he did something, he prayed for me once, and I'll talk about that right after this. He came to me and he says, hey, God told me he's going to heal Alice. I looked at him like, what? Like, boy, that has to be a miracle because I know she doesn't have eyes, you know what I mean? I know she doesn't. And I don't know how he could be so bold, tell you the truth. So he says, come on with me, you're going to pray with me, with her. And I was like, okay. And I knelt down right in front of her, and he was like leaning over her, and he whispered to her, he said, I heard every word. He said, God told me he could heal you. Okay, now sometimes this one gets me, okay, like emotional. She was a really good friend, and there's a good ending to the story though. But he told her that God was going to heal her. Did she believe that Jesus could heal her? And he said yes. She said yes. She goes yes. And he says, okay, then we're going to pray for you. So we laid hands on her, and I had my hand on her shoulder, and he put his on her forehead, and he just said, in the name of Jesus, your eyes are healed. That's it. That was the prayer. Nothing else. I was like, that's it? Like, wow, that's pretty not very much, And the next thing I notice, I'm looking at her because, he's talking about her eyes being healed. And I'm looking at her, and I realize a tear, like the one that's coming out of my eye, leaks down out of her patch. And she couldn't cry, okay? She couldn't cry. And she noticed the tear coming down. And she pulled the patch away, and when she opened up her eyes, it was just like sockets, you know what I mean? You could see in there, and it was like kind of sickening. I never really looked in somebody's eyes that didn't have eyes in their eyes, where the place where the eyes go, and but only the tears are coming out of the tear ducts, and then she shut her eyes and kind of like kept them shut for a minute, and then when she opened them up, there was eyes. There was eyes. She had blue eyes. And she started crying like crazy. And from that moment on, I don't care what anyone says. You can believe in whatever you want. Anyone can believe whatever they want, okay? And you can comment on here and call me names and all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter. You know what? God's real. God's real. I saw her eyes grow back in her head for real. Okay? For real. Now, I had a video production business, and like I told you, that's what I did, like a sideline work. Um, so I told you I'm a mountain guy. That's how I met Bigfoot and everything. And I was up in the mountains with my friends, and they were drinking, and having a good old time. I was just scouting around. I hadn't seen Bigfoot. It was actually maybe 7 months before I seen Bigfoot, believe it or not. It was the same year. That's what's kind of weird. It was the same year. And I jumped over a creek, and I landed in the mud, and my body went flying forward, but my feet were like half a foot down in the mud, and I broke my right ankle. And it hurt so bad, and all these guys, that I'm with, they're all laughing and everything. They're like, "Come on, get up and walk," and nobody was going to help me. They didn't believe me for some reason, so I crawled back through the creek. I crawled to my car, and I drove myself up there, and then I drove home with my left foot. Actually, I didn't drive home. I drove straight to the ER, and I got there about 2 in the morning. And they did the whole thing, the x-rays, all that. You broke your ankle, put a cast on me. By the time I got home, it was like, sun was coming up. And I slept for a few hours, and then I got up, and I was using the cameras for God, right? It wasn't my job, but only it was like a part-time job, and I couldn't do my job, and I couldn't do the job with the cameras, and I had some work to do, and it was all for God. I was shooting TV shows of preachers and teaching tapes and stuff like that. So there was no way I could carry the equipment and walk around on crutches. So I was like praying about it, telling God, you know what, I'm not going to be, I don't know what to do. I broke my ankle. They said it was going to be like 6 months on crutches. So the mentor that healed the lady's eyes, that was my first thought, like, hey, I wonder if God would talk to him about me. And I went to his house, and when I got there, my dad was there. They were like good friends, and it was kind of embarrassing to tell everybody, I broke my ankle being stupid. At least I wasn't drinking or anything, but it was only a few months after, this is only like 6 months, 5 months after I stopped drinking. A lot of people didn't believe I was going to quit, or didn't believe my life changed yet. It took a few years for people to believe that, actually. And it took a long time. I thought, I was expecting everybody to just believe like I believed. I stopped, but only no, that's not the case. It takes a long time for everybody to believe that you changed or whatever. But I went in there, and I told them what happened, and they laughed and everything. And then he says, put your foot up here on the table, on the coffee table. And he prayed. He put his hands around my ankle on both sides, and he said, be healed. That's it, right? No long prayer, no saying a lot of stuff, just be healed. And then he says, okay, now cut the cast off. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, like, for it to work, you have to cut the cast off, and you have to walk around. I'm like, oh man, and he's already busting out something to cut the cast off, and I help him cut the cast off, right? So my ankle's all black and blue and swollen and everything. That part didn't heal, and I thought it wasn't healed at all. I did feel something when he prayed. It was like warm, like a oh, how can I put it, like a heater, like those directional heaters, you know? It felt like that went through my ankle from one hand to the other. I actually felt it get warm. It was like the cast, when the cast was drying, how the whole cast gets real warm and then dries, but only it was only warm only in that spot. And then it went away. So, you know, I went the whole day, and I still used the crutches because my foot was hurting, you know. And then around midnight, 1 in the morning, I'm trying to sleep, my ankle's hurting. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. So then I went, and I saw you retracted it, woolly booger. It's okay though, man. I'm glad you're doing something, anything. I'm glad everybody's doing something, anything. And so I go back to the hospital, to the ER, because I think, you know, I really messed up, you know. I cut the cast off. I'm like, no faith, you know. And I get in there, and it's the same people, of course, you know. And they're like, you idiot, you know. Doctor was like, you're an idiot. And he said, this time, you know, you might have did some damage walking around on it. So I'm gonna have to X-ray it and see what you did. And he goes, this time, I'm gonna hurt you, you know, and I'm gonna hurt you on purpose because you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, that was a good cast I put on you, you know. So they did the X-ray, and I'm sitting in the room with all the casting stuff. I don't know if anybody ever been there, but they have a room just for that. And I'm sitting there waiting for them to come in, and it's taking a long time. I mean, way longer than the night before. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, you know, I probably really messed it up. I hope he doesn't come in talking about surgery or something, you know. I mean, that's the thoughts running through my mind at that point. And he comes in, you know, and he's like, so does it hurt? I'm like, yeah, oh man, you know, that's why I'm here, it hurts. He's like, really? He says, okay, so can you jump off the table and walk across the room and come back for me? I'm like, looking at him like, are you a nut? Like, okay, you know, you're the doctor, whatever. You just told me not to walk on it, now you're telling me to walk on it, whatever. I didn't say anything. I just jumped down, limped across the room, limped back, jumped back on the table. He goes, did that hurt? I go, yeah, it hurt. So then, you know, he says, I'll be right back. You know, and I'm sitting there thinking, what was that about? You know, like, that was crazy. And then he comes back in the room, probably like maybe 15 minutes. They made me sit there, and he's like, has another doctor with him. He's like, hey, can you jump down and walk across the room for this doctor like you did for me? I'm looking at him like, you are out of your head, but yeah, I can, you know. And I jumped down and I walked across the room, and I was heading back to the little, you know, chair thing they have for when they cast you, and he says, can you go out? Can you walk out here with us? You know, and I'm looking at him like, what? Yeah. You know, and I limp behind him, and then we go to this wall with the big lights on it and all the X-rays hanging on there, you know. And he stops me. He's like, look at that right there. Look at that X-ray. He goes, what do you see? You know, and I'm seeing a broken ankle, you know, a bone like that, like this, you know, they had to go like, you know, it was broke. And he says, come over here to the, you know, just step over a couple of steps, and he says, look at this X-ray, what do you see? You know, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't see anything, you know, it looks like a healthy leg. I go, whose X-ray is that? He goes, that's yours. I was like, what? You know, I'm looking at that X-ray. Whoa. Like, whoa. He goes, so what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. He goes, I don't know how you did that. He goes, this is amazing. He goes, I don't know what you did, He goes, let's go back in the room and talk, and him and that other doctor take me in there, and he says, I don't know what you did. He goes, but only, what do you want to do? Do you want another cast? Or I go, do I need one? He goes, no. I go, oh. I go, then I don't want one. I don't want a cast. If I don't have to have a cast, I don't want one, And then the thought was like, so what do I do with the crutches? And he says, they're yours. Your insurance paid for it. So, do whatever you want with them. I go, do I need them? He goes, no. He goes, does it still hurt when you walk? I go, yeah. He goes, well, do whatever you want. I go, so what, are we done? He's like, yeah, we're done. He goes, this is amazing. He goes, I was ready to hurt you, and here I am looking at you like I don't know what to do with you, Sign the papers and leave. I'm like, wow, amazing, amazing. Okay, God's amazing. God is amazing. And you don't have to pray for hours or anything. All you got to do is just say in Jesus' name and give the command. And it works. And I know there's some people out there, especially in the paranormal world, that doesn't like what I just said. Okay? Just remember one thing. I don't hate you. I think of you still as a friend. I don't care what you believe. I really don't. I mean, I know other people that supposedly call themselves Christians, they will dog you and try to change your belief or whatever. I don't do that, okay? I tell you what my experience is. You think about it. If you want to find God, ask Him. It's that easy, all right? It's that easy. You want to know Him? Ask Him. I'm not going to preach to you. I'm not going to do anything. And that's all I got to say about that. And if you want to hate on me, man. It doesn't change me. It doesn't hurt me. Broken legs hurt worse, okay? But now that I said that, I hope everybody doesn't hate me for even saying that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, geez, what a big mess, when you start talking about this one, But only I wanted to come on and I wanted to let everybody, when I was on the show with Jeff, I didn't really get to tell about myself. Everybody knew I was a good guy and all that or whatever, but only Jeff always spoke for me. He always he would say what he wanted everybody to say, and if I started talking and I ran a little long-winded, or I started getting into an area he didn't want to be on the show, then he would cut me off, and I respected him because it's his show. That if I understand. I actually have every respect for Jeff. He is a driven person, man. I don't know very many people that have the drive that Jeff does, and the will to do and go and go and go and push and push and push and push. And I always believe that if you want to be something, or you want to do something, if you believed in yourself enough and you kept at it, you would be or become whatever it is that you wanted to be. So, for the ones that want to go and trash on Jeff or whatever, yeah, it was kind of mean. He had to kind of kill me off, but I understand that, I can't run around, because actually what happened to me, I wanted to be healed of this. See, now after all these healings, this one was hard to take, okay? The one that actually disabled me. I thank you guys, man. You guys are the greatest people. I'm catching, it's kind of flying a little bit fast, but I am catching, you guys are, I love you guys, okay? You're my friends. I don't care if there's 9,000 of you or 10,000 for 100,000 or one. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful, wonderful people. But, okay, remember I told you that date, April 26, 1986? That was the day that I stopped drinking and all that stuff. Well, in May, which, like, I think 7 days before April 1st, I was having anxiety, actually, really bad anxiety. I was the food and beverage director at a casino over 2 bars and 2 restaurants. I was the marketing director, and I also was the network administrator. 3 of the top jobs in the casino, and I was like the marketing director. That was my job. And then I was the interim food and beverage director, and they weren't hiring one, and for over a year I was that. And then they fired the network admin, and I was the network admin, and they sent me to school to learn their system, their computer system, to be an admin. And then they got mad at me because I have this weird ability, or I had, okay, after I got hurt by the doctors, I didn't have it anymore. But as a kid growing up, I could read 1,280 words a minute. And that I didn't need assistants, like I had an assistant of marketing, I had an assistant in the food and beverage, I had an assistant in the network job, I had 307 employees under me, I had meetings for days in town for all 3 positions. I could remember everything. I could remember your phone numbers. I could remember everything, okay, everything. But then the doctors, I was having this anxiety, and I thought I was having a heart attack. My dad died at age 48. Right after the lady's eyes, Gladys's eyes or Alice's eyes were healed. After Alice's eyes were healed, like 2 months later, my dad passed away on his 2nd triple bypass. He had his first one at age 34, and then the second one he had at 48. And he was messed up. And that's a story I'm going to tell you, because that's another God story, okay, that I have to tell you, but I don't have time to tell you tonight. I'm telling you about me tonight a little bit. And I'm almost done. I'm not going to keep you up. I know it's going like 32 minutes now. I told my wife I'm not going to go long, but once I get going, yeah, right. um, so I think I'm having a heart attack. And I have my doctor as my friend. And if you're listening, Doc, I love you, man. I mean, he's the greatest doctor in the world. I wish everybody had one like him. I don't know what I'm going to do when he retires. I don't. I just hope he never retires, because, he's one of my best friends. I was in Ghana. I was in all the little countries by Ghana, like Togo, Ivory Coast, I think, Nigeria. But anyways, back to my thing here. So I went in and they did an angiogram, and I actually was working out and stuff. I had a weight set and everything on my deck of my house that I own, 20 acres with 2 homes and all this stuff. And I was working out a lot, so I was trying to be healthy, because my dad, you have heart problems in your family, so I was trying to be healthy. And the doctors come back and they're like, hey man, we'll see you in 15 years. You're just having anxiety. You're fine. So they did the angiogram, 15 years. I go home, I go to work for like 3 days, and my leg is burning off. It hurts. It hurts. Like, pretty soon, like the 3rd day, I'm calling in sick. I'm rolling around on the floor. And then I did the stupidest thing you could do when you don't have blood flow. I was raising my leg up. So any collateral blood flow that would have been going down through there wasn't going down through there because I stayed laying on the floor with my leg up on a couch, and for like 8 days. And April 21st, 2000, I'm calling this doctor over and over and over because I don't think it's that bad to go to ER. I just, like, I want him to see me. And I go in, and I had to threaten to jump on his sports car to get seen. They wanted to give me a 2-week appointment, and he didn't like that, so he kind of cussed me out a little bit about that. And then he wanted to do something else, and I told him, no, not you, somebody else. And he sends me somewhere else and cusses me again. But what happened was they blocked the artery, and my leg was dying. In fact, the guy that was they said, go straight to the hospital. From here, he goes, meet me at the hospital. And so I did, and then, that was the fastest I ever got admitted in the hospital in my life. You walk in, I'm like, said who I was, at the desk, where you check in, and somebody hit me in the back with a wheelchair. Bam! I dropped into the wheelchair, and away we went. And I was signing papers, and next thing I know, I was looking in the face of this doctor. He goes, I'm your anesthesiologist. It was going that fast. And then the surgeon came in. He goes, I have to warn you, when you wake up, you might not have a right leg. I'll see you on the other side. And then that was like weird, like the other side, what are you talking about? And so I woke up actually one time during the surgery, but what's weird is I went somewhere, okay? Something happened. I don't know what happened. They told me later what happened. I do know what happens. When they pinched off the artery where the clot was, they call it an embolism, and they were supposed to be, I guess, filtering the blood, but because it was an emergency thing, they didn't have all the stuff set up, like everything wasn't there. So when they got the clot out and then sewed the artery back together, they released the blood to flow, and all that bad blood that was pooling in my leg, it went right to my brain. Bam! Killed me. And he said I died twice, but I remember where I went. I wound up in this valley, this beautiful, beautiful valley, and I was the only one there, and it was beautiful. There was like all these colors. There was colors I never saw before, and I don't even know how to tell you what colors the colors are. But I did realize one thing. I was standing there thinking, because I was all by myself, and I was not thinking about here. Okay, where I was off the chain. All I could think about was where I was, and then I'm the mountain guy. Okay, like I like the mountains. I grew up in the mountains. I lived in Yosemite for a long time as a kid. I spend lots of my time in the mountains. So I'm looking at these mountains. I'm in this valley looking at these mountains, and I'm thinking, holy cow, look at these mountains. Wow, man. I never seen mountains so beautiful in my life, and the first thing I thought was, I'm going to check those out one day. One day, I'm going to go check those out. I don't know where I am, but I'll be back for the mountains. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was telling myself. Instantly, as soon as I thought that, bam, I was in the mountains. And I was standing there, and the first thing I noticed was this smell, like people that's been in the mountains, in the Sierras, in Yosemite, and places like that where it's like high mountains, there is a smell that is beautiful in this life, right? In that life, it's amazing. And I didn't know you could smell over there, but you can. You can smell, all your senses work. And I also realized that if you wanted to know something, all you had to do is think about it. And you knew the answer. I mean, I was like playing with all these abilities, you know what I mean? But then I saw the valley that I was in. I was kind of like overlooking it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, what if there was somebody waiting for me over there in that valley, you know? And here I am over here, like, I need to be back over there, you know? And instantly, I was standing back in the valley, and there was somebody waiting for me, you know? It was like, wow. And you know, I'm looking at this guy, and it's amazingly beautiful, like glowy guy. Okay, he never said his name. I think he was Jesus. I don't know. You know, he never said. I never asked, but he did say. He spoke in my mind, and he said, "Are you done?" And you know, I didn't say anything, but in my mind, I'm like, done doing what? I didn't do anything yet, you know. I mean, really, I hadn't done anything except for think and go over there and think, and I'm back. I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing there. So I'm thinking, like, what? Done doing what? And then he says it again. He's like, are you done? I'm like, and in my mind, I'm thinking, what? You know, done doing what? So then he says, what about your grandkids? And it was like, whew, my mind went back to here, right? Back to here. And all of a sudden, I mean, like, I felt myself being sucked back, like. But instantly, it was like almost instantaneous, but I felt the movement of being sucked back. When I went to the mountains, I didn't feel any movement at all. It was like bewitched, you know, ding ding ding, punk, you're there, you know what I mean? Like, but only when I was coming back to me, it was I felt the movement, but only it was like, that's all, you know what I mean? You felt yourself move towards there, and then all of a sudden, bam, I was in my body, like as fast as I could say it, and my eyes opened up, and there was the surgeon, and he had his face like right in my face, and he's yelling, stay with us, stay with us. And I think probably what happened was when they put the paddles on me to start me back up, that's what, you know, that's why I think I slammed into my body. I'm not sure though. I mean, I might have slammed, you know, and I was looking at him, and that's all I remember. I conked out, and then I woke up in the ICU. And, you know, then when I woke up, they were already standing there. It was like I don't know if they turned on turned off a medicine or something, you know, but I don't know how long I was laying there before I woke up. You know, I don't know anything. Like, I woke up, and there he was, and they're like, they started telling me about this button, you know, here's this button, you can push it every 6 minutes. It's going to give you a shot of morphine, and you can push it every 6 minutes. And then she pulls it away from me, you know, and she's like, but you can't have it yet because we have to talk to you. And that's when the doctor started telling me, you know, it was a 7.5-hour surgery. I died 2 times. They saved the leg, you know, and then immediately I'm like feeling on my leg like, oh, yay, you know, he saved the leg. But it's never been the same. Never been the same. I was kind of like in a wheelchair for a while. I could get up and walk like a little bit, but I couldn't feel it. So like, if like, it would just give out and I would fall down. So I was afraid to walk, but I wanted to walk really bad. So I pushed myself for 3 years. Push, you know, walk across the room, walk back, walk all the way to the bathroom, walk back, walk further, walk outside. Pretty soon I was walking out to the mailbox. Walk, you know, and right in the chair, only when I had to. And yeah, it was nerve damage. So 3 years later, I couldn't sue him. I never wound up suing him because of the crazy laws in California where it makes it hard to sue a doctor. And I still had the leg, even though it wasn't. And they were telling me that it was all in my head. Okay, all the pain and everything's all in my head. And any doctor that I saw, they don't want to see me very long. You know what I mean? They're like, go away, man. Nobody wanted to be my doctor. And I mean, it was like ridiculous. It makes me mad about the medical field that they could take my 6,000, my good jobs, and cause me to lose everything, and I couldn't do anything. And man, I tell you, it made me so mad. Only I wanted to get revenge, but God was like, no, you're not getting revenge. And then I wanted to be healed, and God was like, no, you're not going to be healed. And I didn't understand. And it took a long time for me to realize, maybe like 6 years into it, that God had to take my leg out. I mean, he let me walk. I'm walking now. But he had to, and he has to keep me this way, or else I will become dependent on myself again. You know what I mean? Like, when I first got hurt and I didn't have an income and I didn't have Social Security, I didn't have anything, I had a little bit of money left that I had saved, and I rented this little house, and I was hoping that I was going to get Social Security real quick, like 90 days. It took 5 years, okay? But I paid enough rent so that I had a few months, but I didn't have the money to pay anymore. And that's how I'm not worried about if you guys donate or anything like that. If God puts it on your heart to donate, donate. Because I don't want to stop anybody from getting a blessing, okay? And I even pray for the people that donate. So you guys are getting prayers from me that, your life will be abundantly blessed for your donation. Because I lived in this house for 5 years. I didn't pay the rent. I didn't pay the power. I didn't pay the internet. I didn't pay the utilities. I didn't have money for food. I sold my car. I didn't have a car. I never got kicked out. The power never got shut off. I never went hungry. The internet stayed on. So 5 years, God took care of me. And he let me know, he let me learn that if he keeps me with my leg like this, like messed up, and believe me, it's painful. And that part Jeffrey's not lying about. There's a lot of times that I barely could sit there with him, But it's crazy. It's not going to stop me from doing this, though. I'm going to still be your friend. I'm going to get on here. If I don't come on, know that I'll be back, okay? Unless I'm dead. But if something happens and I wind up not being on 1 day or 2 days, don't panic, okay? It just means that probably my wife walked me to death in a Walmart, and that means, I can't even hardly even think straight because the pain is going straight, killing me. And so don't panic, all right? And that's why I understand about Jeff. Like, the guy is driven. He really, 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 really wants that. I really, really want him to make it. I wouldn't have stuck with him that long if I didn't. And I wouldn't have pushed so hard on myself for him if I didn't want him to make it. I mean, I really would love to see him attain all the goals that he makes. And I would love to see you guys. I mean, I encourage everyone, if you're in a dead-end job and you're not happy, do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, life could be over in a heartbeat. And why stay in something that you hate and you're not having any fun? I mean, that's just my philosophy now. Like, you can fall down and bust your head and be gone. That's how come I believe in hugging your kids and your wife and making the most of every day, Every day be like it's like your last one, because you don't know if it is or not. You know, it could be changing any time. And now that was my bedtime story. It was me. I'm sorry it was all about me. I'm not going to talk about me very much anymore after this. I just wanted everybody to know me. Like, you see me, you've been seeing me, you see me on Finding Bigfoot, you see me on Monsters and Mysteries, you see me on the internet, you see me all over the place. I just want everybody to know the me, okay? The real me, what makes me tick me. The you know, I don't want you to hear it from Jeffrey. I don't want you to hear it from anyone. I want to tell you because you're my friend and I love you guys. And so I'm going to tell you about me, why I'm the way I am now, and that's the kind of drive I have. Like, is I want everybody to know me personally. Like, if we're just sitting face to face, having a cup of coffee, and I would really, honestly, love to meet everybody like that too. In fact, what I want to do when I get this channel going, and the equipment and stuff, I want to meet you guys. Like, when you guys that have stories and ghost stories and stuff like that, I want you to Skype in and we could sit and look at each other face to face and we could tell stories like that, and we'll go live or we'll record it and we'll put it on YouTube and let everybody, hear the story. That is actually what I want to do with this channel. Is it's not my channel, it's your guys' channel. Like, what do you guys want on it? How do you want it? How do you want it served? How long do you want us to do it? You know what I mean? Like, let's have a coffee. Like, I love coffee. Coffee's my favorite thing. That's why I keep on saying that. Yeah. That's what I want to do. If you have other ideas, like, I'm open, okay? I'm totally open. Because it's your channel. I watch some of these other people. They do, and they're trying to do. They're trying to do a talk show host, or they're trying to do, like a paranormal investigator, or they're getting on there and they're worried about everything. Like, I'm not even worried the camera's shaking. You know what I mean? Like, it's just me and you. Okay, it's just me and you sitting here having a chat, and let's do that. Let's as I get the equipment, let's have some chats. I know there's some people with some real wild stories better than mine. All right, and we'll make a cup of coffee and we'll sit down and we'll chat and we'll put it on your channel. In fact, I need a name for the channel. It can't be my name. Okay, I don't know what to name it. I have no idea, I'm not naming it Bedtime Stories, right? I just wanted the Bedtime Story thing was just a little idea for me to I wanted to put some videos on and let everybody know I'm not dead. And I'm still here, and I want to develop a relationship with everybody, okay? So here I am. Here's your channel. Maybe I'll call it your channel. I don't know. Maybe I could do that. But you have, same goes. If you have, like, stuff, ideas, whatever, if you want to unsubscribe, after that. Share it if you think there's other people that might be interested in this. And leave comments in there, because I am looking at the comments and reading them, and I'm trying to keep up with them, okay? I am replying and all that, because it's your channel. It's about you guys, not me. It's about what's in this world. It's about the paranormal, the supernatural. It's real, okay? God's real. Bigfoot's real. Aliens are real. I'm not sure they're really aliens, though. But it's all real. It's all out there. Let's talk about it. Let's chat. Let's do coffee. Let's do it. So, I don't have much more to say. I love you guys a lot. I don't know if I'm going to have a story tomorrow or not. I have some things I got to do this weekend. You know, it's gonna keep me pretty busy, so you might not see anything for me until Monday, okay? But if I have a moment, I'll jump on, you know, and it might not be in the night, and it might not be called bedtime stories, but I'll jump on and say hello to everybody. I'll just say how you doing and what's up, okay? And you guys have a really good night, and I hope you have sweet dreams tonight, all right? I love you guys.